Hi soulmates, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Tekla, and in today's tutorial you'll be learning the very perfect method of making a Victoria corset. So if this sounds like something that you like to learn, go ahead now, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and remember to turn on your notification bell so that you, my favorite one, will be the very first person to know when I upload new tutorials. So for this particular Victorian corset, I have already gone ahead to draft my vertical measurements. If you're already a member of this channel, you know that this is how we do our pattern drafting. So I drafted from my shoulder to my bust point, my under bust, my waist, and then my full length. The full length of this pattern paper is 24.5, and this is what I'll be working with at the moment. So I also drafted my shoulder. My shoulder is 16. Then on my bust point, I came up by 2 inches to get my chest line. So my shoulder to nipple is 11 and my shoulder to my chest line is 9. So I'm not going to divide my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. That is exactly what you can see me marking there. So I am going to connect from my bust point to my full length, just the way you can see me marking with the ruler. Then at this point, you are now going to determine how high you want your Victorian corset to cover. You know it's going to cover your boobs and it does not carry visible curves. So for me, I decided to come up by 2.5 inches above my bust point. If you want it very covered, you can do 3. For me, I came up by 2.5 inches above my bust point, and then I went ahead to extend my line up to that moment. And this is where we are going to do our overbust tightening. So on my under bust and on my waist, I am going to take out 1 inch on both sides. This is going to serve as contouring or snatching, and you know that what we are doing now is the main dart. So can you see the way I am marking that? So I'm just going to connect that on the left and on the right side, just the way you can see me marking. Then I am now connected to my bust point. You know the way you just mark your bustier measurements. That is exactly how you are going to mark this. The only difference is that you are going to try to mirror the curve. When I say mirror the curve, try to make sure that what you have on this side is exactly what you have on the other side. Can you see? So don't make the other curve to be deep on the other side, and then on the other side is now not that deep. So I'm now going to mark half inch on the hemline, and I'm going to go ahead to connect it. Can you see? So on the full length, which is where I'll be marking my hips, I marked half inch on both sides of the line. Then for my overbust tightening, I took 1 inch. You know that most times when you are doing overbust tightening, you tend to take out half inch. But for my overbust tightening, I took 1 inch, and then I went ahead to curve it back to my nipple point. You can see that I am trying to make that curve as perfect as possible. Can you see? So that when it laps on my boobs area, it will look fine. So I'm just going to go ahead to shade that out. So at this point, our first dart is already out. Can you see that? Then on my bust point, I came up by 1 inch just to determine the depth of the center front of my Victoria corset. That is what I'm connecting now. So you can decide to come up by 2 depending on how deep. If you want your cleavage to be showing a little bit, you can just come up by 1, just exactly the same way that I did. So now for my bust point, the bust I'm working with is 40 divided by 4, which is 10. So I went ahead to mark that 10 on my bust point, and then I came up by 1 inch from my bust point. Then on my chest line, I'm still going to mark my bust point divided by 4, which is 10. Then those 2 inches that I took for the overbust tightening, I am now going to add it as an extension. So the 10 inches of my bust plus 2 is going to give me 12. 10 plus 2 is 12. So what I'll be using for that bust now is 12. Can you see? So I am going to add that 2 inches to it, and that is what we are going to work with. Then on my waistline as well, The waist I am working with is 31 and I want to snatch the waist by 3 inches. So 31 minus 3 is 28 and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So what this means is that the waist I'll be working with is 7 inches. So on my waistline I am going to mark the 7 inches and then I'll add back the 2 inches dart that I took. Then the dart that I want to use to snatch the waist of this corset is 2.5 inches. So I added 2.5 inches to the waist. I will go again. My waist is 7. Then I added back the 2 inches dart that I took. Then I now added extra 2.5 inches allowance. Do you understand? I'll still take out that 2.5 inches. Then on my hip line, I just put my hip measurement and I added back the 1 inch that I took for that and I went ahead to connect it. So remember that on my chest line I had my bust plus the 2 inches dart that I took out. Then on my waist I have my waist plus the 2 inches dart that I took out plus extra 2.5 inches. Then I connected from my bust to my waist and then to my full length. So for the yoke of this Victorian corset, in case you want to add the yoke, I came down by 1 inch from my chest line to get my armhole line and then I connected to the other side of the dart leg. Then currently I am going to take my armhole curve. So now that we have the basic measurement for this Victorian corset, we are now going to go ahead and contour the whole thing. Do you understand? So we are going to contour. So the extra seam allowance that I added is 2.5 inches. I am just writing that down so that you know when I did the waist, the extra seam allowance that I added is 2.5. So but first of all, let's take out our bust dart measurements. So at this point I came down by 1.5 from the armhole line, but I'm just going to remark that please come down by 1.5 from your bust point. Then I connected back to my bust point line, can you see, just to get my bust point. Now the thing with the Victorian corset is that bust point dart is optional. You can decide to put it, you can decide to leave it, it is totally optional. So for me I decided to use it. Especially if you are working with a bigger size measurement, bust point dart might be necessary. You can consider it, but it's still an option. So I had to open up my dart leg there so that I can be able to now cover my bust point dart just the way you can see me marking. So I can be able to cover it. Then on that first line that I marked, I just lashed it open very close to the bust point line. So after snatching it, I'll now use one to cover one, and by that way we have already taken out our bust point dart. Then I now went ahead to reconnect the line. So guys, have you watched up to this moment? Please go ahead now and hit that like button, and remember to share this video to your sewing friends and tell us. And also remember to subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. We have so many tutorials on beginner, intermediate and advanced level courses. You can just go ahead to check them out and then see all the things that we have there. Then our online classes is still ongoing as well. Use the link in the comment section to reach me directly on WhatsApp to see all the courses that we have. We have courses on corsets and all of that. So in order to take out another dart, I divided what I have left on the side of my pattern into two. From that particular place where I slashed the line, that is where I divided it from. So now bring that 2.5 inches seam allowance that we kept somewhere. This is now where we are going to go ahead and take it out. So remember that we added extra 2.5 inches to the seam allowance on our waistline. You remember when I said my waist is 7 and then I added 2 inches that we took out, and then I added extra 2.5. So this is the time where you now take out the 2.5. So I marked 1 inch on both sides of my waist and my under bust. Then on my yoke line or on my corset length there, I took out 1/4 inch on both sides, and by that way we have already taken out the second dart. So you can see what we have there, and you can see how perfect this is already coming out. So after we took 1 inch on both sides, the only thing we had there is 2. And then you remember that it's 2.5 inches seam allowance that we added. So the remaining ½ inch, I am going to take it out on the waist at the center front of my pattern. So from there, I'm just going to connect very close to my bust point, and then I am also going to connect to my seam allowance. Can you see? So this particular place that I marked now is automatically a new dart. So did you see that we have already taken out the extra 2.5 inches dart that I marked? So the dart is out now, which means we are ready to proceed. Then in order to have a curve at the side of my corset, I came down by about 3 inches, 3.5, 4 inches, whichever one is okay by you, you can do that. So I had to run my bust point dart so that I can be able to connect this the exact way that I want it. I did not connect it to the tip of my center corset because it has like a curve at the center, not like a triangular basque effect. So that is exactly where I just connected it to the tip of my first dart leg. So you can see what I have. Then on the neck of your yoke, you can decide to do a round neck. But for this particular corset, if I should be adding a yoke to it, I am going to do a stylish Queen Anne neckline. So that is exactly what I'm trying to show you. But if you're just going to do round neck, then go ahead to come down by 3, 3.5 or 4 for your round neck on the depth. But for me, I just connected it like this because if I should actually add a yoke to it, I want it to be a Queen Anne neckline. And you can see that this own Queen Anne neckline is even curved. But it's personally for me, it is what I want. So right now I am going to go ahead to cut that out. So pay attention to see how I am cutting this out and all the necessary things that you are going to know. So I'm also going to use this opportunity right now to talk about, okay, so because so many of you come to my WhatsApp and then you ask me questions, how do I do this? How do I price my outfit? Someone brought this outfit for me. How much should I charge? So I decided to create a very detailed pricing strategy for tailors. It is a PDF. It is already available on our seller as a PDF. So in this PDF, I had to put all the things that you're going to consider, all the costs that you're supposed to consider before giving out your price to any client. Whenever you are watching this video, just know that this stage is still applicable to you. And if you are a Nigerian, it is just about 4,000 naira to get the PDF, which is about $3 as of now. So you can see that it is not expensive. And then it's something that you need for your business, because sometimes we just add cost of materials, maybe cost of NEPA bill that you pay, and then you think you have made profits. The person will pay you, by the end of the day you have nothing left. So with this particular pricing formula or strategy, you'll be able to know all the costs to put in, not just all the costs to put in, but how to put it in. I did a practical example there. I posted a dress and then I recommended all the things that you should put into this dress. I calculated it there. I showed you, like, if I'm the one making this dress, this is how it should be. This is all the costs you have. This is what to send to the clients, and this is how to add your profits, including all the things that you're supposed to add. So I took my time to do that, and it is actually very, very detailed. I also did a ready-to-wear on, in case you are running a ready-to-wear brand, so that you know exactly how to sell pay one. Some of you produce ready to wear, and because of how much you sell it, you only sell based on the cost of material and then the cost of the things that you use to sew it. You don't know so many other things that you're supposed to add before you determine the cost of one piece. I also did a detailed illustration there. So if you're interested in the pricing strategy or formula, all you have to do is just click the WhatsApp link in the comments or in the description of this video or on our bio, and you reach me directly on WhatsApp. You can also use the seller link on our bio to purchase it directly without having reached me. All you have to do is click on that seller link, and once you make payment, you will automatically download the PDF. So if you're able to get this PDF, you will definitely be making profits with your bespoke and ready to wear tailoring. This is specifically for bespoke and ready to wear tailors. As far as clients come in and go and you are a fashion designer, you need this. So for the back pattern, on my bust, I just marked my bust. You remember that my bust is 10, so I just marked the 10. Then remember that the waist that we are working with is 7, so I just added the 7 and then I added extra 2.5 inches. You remember the way we added extra 2.5 inches at the front? That is exactly the same way you are going to add extra 2.5 inches at the back. So this 2.5 inches, we are still going to take it out just the way we took it out at the front part. So please pay attention so that you'll be able to understand everything. So just the same way I came up by 1 inch on my chest line at the front, I also came up by 1 inch on this line at my back, because I like my side seams to be always equal, both for the back and then for the front. Then for the waistline of my back, you know that your waist is shorter at the back. Your shoulder to waist at the front is longer than your shoulder to waist at the back, so I also took notice of that. So instead of adding 3 inches from my under bust to waist, I just did 2 inches. Then for my yoke, at that place where I came up by 1 inch on the bust point for my armhole, I just curved it to the center of my bust point. Can you see? Then on my under bust and on my waist, I am going to divide what I have there by 3. Whatever you have there, assuming what you have there is 9, you divide it into 3 equal parts. Please divide it into 3 equal parts, and this is where we are now going to take out our darts. And also remember that for this particular one, you remember I added extra 2.5 inches. This is where I am now going to take out those 2.5 inches. At this point, I was marking 1 inch. Sorry, I am actually marking half inch. I'm supposed to mark half inch because on each dart leg, I want to take out 1 inch allowance. Remember that the extra seam that we added is 2.5. So I want to take out 1 inch allowance on both sides of the dart leg. Can you see the way I'm doing it? Can you see? So the same thing that I did here, I am also going to do it on the other side of the dart leg. I would also like to say that this particular Victorian corset is a 12-piece Victorian corset. Now let's say that the person you are making this corset is bigger than this. You can as well add extra darts, because you can see they have 3 on the back, 3 at the front, which is 6 on both sides. So it's a 12 pieces Victorian corset. You can still decide to divide more. The back, I divided it into 3 equal parts. You can decide to divide your own into 4 equal parts. It is totally optional and it is just what you want. So at this point, I was now trying to cross check in order to make sure that my sides are equal on the front and the back. I don't like sewing corsets and you realize that one side is longer than the other side. I think that's just something I don't like, so I like taking note of it. So I had to measure what I had on the front side, and then I just took it down on the side of my back side as well. I think it was about 9.5 inch, so I just marked the 9.5 inch. So this is my center pattern, my middle pattern, and then my side pattern. I also labeled it as 1, 2, and 3. So for my eyelet part or my back opening, you can decide to come in by 1.5 or by 2. So for me, I came in by 2 inches eventually. At first I wanted to do 1.5, but then I was like, okay, I don't mind the back being open, and considering that is also my bust area, and I decided to come in by 2 inches, and I connected it to 1 inch at the hem line. Do you understand? So on the hem line, I took out 1 inch. Then on the other side, I took out 2 inches because I want my back to be kind of V. You know those eyelet opening or corset opening at the back that has like a V effect from the up to the down? That is exactly how I wanted it to be. Then for the length of your corset back, you just determine how long you want it to be. From that place I marked 9.5 on the side part. I am going to now determine the length at the center. I think what I used there was 22. I wanted it to be a little bit long at the center of the corset at the back, so that is exactly what I'm marking. You can decide to make it full length. This is totally optional. I just curved it the way that I want. You can decide to make it longer than mine. Yoke as well. For the yoke, I had to also take out the yoke. If I'm to add yoke to this corset, I would like the yoke to have a button at the center. I think I just have a special love for that kind of yoke. So I'm going to cut out the yoke part, and we are also going to contour this yoke. You know that scenario whereby someone is wearing a corset blouse or a bustier blouse and the yoke is just folding at the back. So right now I will show you what to do so that you don't experience such. I am going to come to the hem of the yoke and I'm going to take out 1/2 inch and then slash it to the side. So that is exactly what I want to do now. So I just had to take it to the side. At first I did a curve and then I was like, no, let's just do a straight line. So that is exactly what you can see me marking. So I'm just that out, and once you have done this, your yoke is not going to bulge at the back. Can you see that? So I am now going to cut out these other 2 pieces so that you see exactly what we have. So I'm just going to cut out this part that I shaded this out. It's going to be the opening at the back of my corset, just the way you normally see corset look, because I want it very snatched. So I'm also going to go ahead now and then cut out these darts as well. So I am just going to go ahead and then cut that out. So you can see that just the side that the back is going to be 3-piece. You can see that we still landed at that 3-piece, right? So in order not to get confused when I'm sewing, I am this as back. This B stands for back because by the time you keep it with the front, you might get confused on which one is which. See what we have. You can see the front, you can see the back, you can see that this pattern is already given and it is looking so beautiful. Like, you can see how fine this is looking. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. In the sewing tutorial, I'll be showing you all the materials that you need to achieve this corset. So guys, thank you so much for watching. It's still your girl Tekla, and remember to get your pricing formula, and I cannot wait to see you in the sewing tutorial. You can see that I already went ahead to cut it out on my fabric now. So in the next tutorial I will show you. Bye.